Hey guys, so today we are going to be using our bud bases or materials in the bud bases to make boutonnieres. If you don't know what a boutonniere is the flower that the guy wears usually on his shirt or on his suit jacket at a formal event, so like prom or a wedding or just a formal event. So we're going to use one carnation for now, so you can take one carnation out. We're going to use one piece of greenery, and we're going to use some baby's breath. So if you're just one piece, just take the whole piece out and then set the rest aside. You are also going to need one piece of wire, or there's one wire, sorry, not one piece, and your floral tape. And this should look familiar, both this and the wire should look familiar. They were on your tool ID that you guys did last week. Floral tape is kind of a cool tape. If you've taken it apart already, you find it end just like regular tape and untape it. If you notice, it's not sticky. The way that floral tape works is as you stretch it, it sticks to itself. So that's kind of, you gotta keep that in mind while you are using it to make sure that everything holds together. So as you kind of stretch it and use it, it sticks to itself. So you can kind of see like that. First thing, take your wire, and we're actually gonna cut it in half. In your bags, you guys have scissors that I got you. If you have access to a pair of wire cutters, they would work even better. If you don't, the scissors should work just fine. But we're gonna cut our wire in half. So you don't need to take out a tape measure or anything, just estimate, about half. So about right in there. So that way you have two halves. Next, take your flower. If your bud needs to be opened up a little bit, you can open it up just like I showed you last week. Gotta open it, my bud's really closed up. Okay. We're now going to cut our stem really short. So we're going to cut our stem about an inch-ish from the bottom. So about like that. We're now going to take one of your halves of wire. And this is gonna take some practice. Okay, so you should have your stem cut that short. Take your half of wire. This is gonna take some practice. For me, it's easier to hold the flower upside down. Some people, it's easier to hold it right side up. So kind of play around with it. We're gonna be doing these a few times this year, and hopefully before prom, you guys can all make your own. You're gonna take your wire and you're gonna pierce it through the calyx. So this, again, this green part right here is called the calyx. We're gonna go about halfway and pierce it all the way through, just like that. We're gonna take the other one and we're gonna go crisscross. So we're gonna do the exact same thing, but going the opposite direction. So you end up with wire like that. We're now going to fold the wire down. So we're gonna bend it down just like that. Be very, very, very gentle when you do that, because you don't want the wire to pull, because it'll slice your flower in half and you're not gonna have that extra support. And then when you finish your boutonniere, your flower is gonna just kind of flop over. So make sure you're very gentle when you bend the wire down and you don't slice open your flower. But all your wire should face down just like that. Now, the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna start taping. Now this is gonna be probably one of the most challenging things for you guys to do. And that's why, like I said, we're gonna be doing these a few times this year. Taping is a little bit challenging. To start off, best thing to do, I just stretch out my tape. See how long I have that? I can move this, make it easier. having a long piece to work with. It just makes it a little bit easier. There's a little bit more movement. And then I have the tape just laying on the table, the rest of the roll. I'm gonna start just above where the wire goes into the flower. When you're done, you don't wanna see that point. You wanna make sure that that's covered. So I'm gonna start just above it, and I'm gonna hold it with my thumb, and I'm gonna go around. Now I'm still holding that piece with my other finger. And I'm gonna wrap around, and I'm gonna do it as tightly as I possibly can without totally smushing the flower. So that way, it sticks to itself. And that way, that wire is covered up, so we don't see that wire when we're done. I'm gonna keep going, and now we're gonna wrap, slowly work your way down the wire. And if you look at how I'm holding the flower and the wire, I'm moving my other hand down to help support it. And again, you wanna pull this tape as tightly as possible. If it's too loose, it's gonna leave a bunch of bumps, and it's not gonna be as pretty. And I'm not doing the best job here. So go all the way down. And try to keep your tape as flat as possible. Okay, so I didn't go all the way down, I just went part way, and now I'm gonna rip it. And you should have something just like that. Now we're gonna add stuff to it. So we have our greenery. The greenery is gonna be the backing. So when it goes onto the guy's shirt, it's gonna sit like this with the greenery behind it. So I'm gonna trim my greenery. I like it about that tall, meaning from the flower up to the top. So I'm gonna trim it about right here. Now from where I need to tape, I need to start the tape about up here. So I need to remove this piece. So get a little closer. So I need to start the tape about up here to make sure it's in there pretty sturdy. So I need to remove this leaf right here and this leaf right here. When I do that, you never want to have leaves smushed into your tape because it'll cause the leaves to go bad a lot faster. You'll have brown leaves and that just looks ugly. I've actually got a little stem sticking out here. There we go. At the same time, I'm also gonna add a little bit of baby's breath. Now the baby's breath can go a couple different places. It can go in the front, like this, or it can go off to the side. I'm gonna put mine off to the side because I had to remove that one little leaf there, so hopefully it'll kind of help balance it out a little bit. So once you get your greenery and your baby's breath kind of about where you want it to be, I'm gonna trim the stems. Now you remember your flower, you left like about 1 inch of a stem. You don't want your greenery and your baby's breath stem to stick past your flower stem, because in the end, we're gonna do something, and I will explain it then. If they stick down too far, you're not gonna be able to do it. So this gets more challenging with the tape. So we're now going to take the tape, and I'm starting the tape kind of at the base of that greenery. I don't have any leaves stuck in there. And this is kind of challenging because you're holding 2 stems now and making sure that they don't move. I'm taping those in. I'm gonna actually trim these stems just a tiny bit because I feel like they're just a little bit long there. I'm gonna go all the way down. Now with this one, before we kind of stopped and we had some wire sticking out, I want you to trim your wire now to the length that you're gonna want it. I'm just making mine a little bit even. So I just took about 1/2 inch or so off. And then finish taping all of the way to the bottom. Now it's super important that you make sure that, hold on, switch hands here. Make sure that all the wire is covered. You don't want any sharp points sticking out, because if somebody's wearing this on their shirt and they're, you know, dancing or moving, we don't want it to stab them. So make sure all of the wire is covered all the way to the very bottom. Just like that. And so all the wire is totally covered. And for floral tape, you can either cut it or you can just rip it. It rips really easily. I usually just kind of rip it like that, and then just kind of smooth, I just kind of smooth out the end, just like that. So that's the boutonniere. And then I'm going to take a pen, which I just realized I don't have. Hold it. So to finish off the boutonniere, you have kind of this little tail. Some people like to leave it straight, just like that, which is totally fine. But a lot of people like to put a little curly Q in it. And you could do this a few different ways. Easiest way to do it, get a pen or a pencil, start at the bottom, and just wrap it around the pen or a pencil. You can do something like that. If you left your wire a little bit longer, you can do a few different things. You can do a few loops. I've had some students, you know, turn them around and turn them into like a little heart. I've had some students make like an infinity sign with them. You can kind of put your own style into it. That one's just a quick little twist, or you can even do like a little J. So, however you like to do the tail of the boutonniere is up to you. So that is a boutonniere. And for your assignment, you need to complete 2. So if you've been following this video, you're done with your first one, work on the second one. You should have 2 more flowers.